All right, so let's take a look at clipping values as another way to address issues we may have with our data. So if we're using a regression approach, then we are concerned about what value we have, and particularly outliers. So if we look at the months since last negative, we go to that, and let's see what we have for our months since last negative. So here's what we want: months since last major derogatory report. So we've got a fair number of missing values, but a lot are filled in. And again, I'm going to have to fix this. So at this point, I can go back to my edit metadata and just add that new field that we want to change. And it's called months since last major derogatory finding or notice. So I'll go back to my edit metadata, and I will just add that to my, I can just add it right here. And save, change that to an integer. Run my clean missing data. So I can run that one more time. All right, so my job is finished, and I can now go look at my result data set for that months since last major derogatory. And I can see it goes from 0 to 151. Let's see what the distribution of that looks like. Okay, so months since last derogatory, major derogatory. Yeah, so you can see that's got a pretty good tail over there on the right. All right, so if I look at this months since last derogatory, I can now go and look at my quartiles. That's going to be this one here that's got some values. First quartile 26, third quartile 61. So we could use that approach to help us determine a threshold. We can also use the empirical rule and take a look at our distributions here, where we get to our third standard deviation or thereabouts at 99.5 at 106. So 106 would be our cutoff using the empirical rule. We would calculate our interquartile at 61 minus 26, so 51, 41, 35. So 96, 35, 96 plus another 18, 106, 124 versus what we had there, 106. So in either case, we end up with a cutoff 106 to 124-ish. And you can see the max is 151. So that's going to bring some of those values down. So let's take a look and see if we can add a clip values. Clip values. And we're going to do this for our column months since last major derogatory. All right, so we'll save that. And then we want to just clip the peaks. We don't want to clip the lower values. So you can clip peaks, sub-peaks, or peaks and sub-peaks, the sub-peaks being your lower values. The upper threshold we can set as a constant or a percentile. So you can see the percentile, I can get pretty close to the empirical rule with just 0.99 or 99th percentile. It will not let me do it with 99.7, I don't believe. Try it again. We'll just actually put in our constant. And the constant was 106, I believe, if we use the empirical rule. If we use the IQR method in the box plot, it was 124. Let's just use 106 and try that instead and see what we get. All right, so we preview the data. Okay, so yeah, the tail is definitely shorter now. And we have 0 that didn't get clipped, 20,430, and we do have 20,458. So that means what? 28 did get clipped, although I can't hover over this enough to actually see it. All right, interesting. Yeah, I don't see any trues in this particular one. All right, so clipped values, and that will help us a little bit with your distribution for a regression type approach or any algorithm that you're going to use that relies on linear assumptions and normal distributions. All right, so that's clipped values. Let's go back and see what we would like to do next.